He is nuts and clearly disturbed. The Standard. He's angry. Vanity Fair. His own family hates him. The New York Post. He sounds like he's transmitting from another galaxy. He is so crazy. The New York Post. Kennedy is a humorless bully living in a paranoid fantasy. Vanity Fair. What the is wrong with Bobby Kennedy? Okay. He's a walking, talking conspiracy theory, the New York Times. He's completely divorced from reality.
I like this so far. This is a new, looks like a political ad. I don't know much about it. It just came out recently. And people are talking about it. And I am interested in RFK. I know that there's some talk I've seen on the left of him. I guess, did he support the anti-Sem stuff in the House? I don't know, but that bill. But I'm still looking at him, and let's take a look.
The Guardian. He is vile. The White House. Being with him was the low point of my summer. Vanity Fair.
This is a good start. I mean, I know it's almost cliche where people used to read their mean tweets or whatever, but this is a good start. It's got me interested.
Bobby Kennedy speaks with a croaking, rasping, painful-sounding voice. His vague explanation is that it's a virus, but more likely it is a crack pipe voice. The Standard. Kennedy is a crank, the New York Times. He is a crank, the New York Times. He's a crank who cranks out whoppers the way Taylor Swift disgorges perfect pop songs, the New York Times. He has conversations with dead people, The Guardian. I wouldn't vote for that guy either.
You're most likely going to have 3 choices for president on your ballot in November. This guy, and this guy. I realize you probably heard a lot of bad stuff about him these last few years. But what if the bad stuff you've heard wasn't even true? And what if there's a whole lot more to him than you even knew?
This pipeline is not going to benefit the American people.
I would urge you not to accept the shackles of courtroom monopoly.
We're being given this land so that we can build cities on a hill. Our civilization will be judged by future generations.
Either way, let's start with some irrefutable facts. This is Bobby Kennedy. This is Bobby Kennedy in 1962. This is his dad. This is his uncle. And this is his other uncle. He was born in 1954. He grew up in Virginia and Cape Cod. He has 7 kids. This is his wife, Cheryl. Yes, she's that Cheryl. He's an attorney. He's won hundreds of cases against companies like Monsanto, Mobil, Massey Energy.
I like this so far. I'm going to watch the whole thing. For this, I'll just clip. I like to try to keep it as close to 8 minutes as possible or under. So I'll do about 8 minutes here and finish this out. I like this. It's just like, who is he? I know of him. I know a little bit about him, but this is good.
Dow Chemical and a bunch of other big polluters. He's a surfer. He's a falconer. He's a rock climber. He's a river rafter. He's a hunter. He's an outdoorsman. He was a heroin addict and an alcoholic. He's been sober for decades. His voice sounds weird. That's because he has spasmodic dysphonia. It's a neurological disorder that can affect the voice and speech. He can do 25 pull-ups in one go.
Off topic, so that means that Neuralink would fix it, potentially, at some point. A chip in your brain, if you don't know what Neuralink is.
I can do 3. He's 70 years old, and he's running for president as an independent.
Joe, why do you think Bobby's running for president?
I think he feels like this is what he's supposed to do. He has a calling.
The Democratic Party had to do whatever they needed to freeze him out. And that's why he's running as independent. He got pissed off because there's no one in the Democratic Party who would choose Joe Biden over him in a fair, if it's just him versus Joe Biden, say there was no Donald Trump, Joe Biden would get smashed by him.
Who lives there?
That was my mom.
Now, the homie friend of the show, Dr. Shiva Ayodure, he has words for this dude. So I'll do a follow-up on that. I did an interview with him, and Dr. Shiva Ayodure does not hold back when he talks about RFKJ. So everything's not all peaches and roses.
Can you talk about some of the values you learned as a kid from your uncle and your father that you're taking with you on this campaign?
Well, we had a duty, they felt, make America exemplary for the rest of the world. I think the major issues that my uncle and father were interested in this country was keeping the country out of war, and then the civil rights, honest government. Those were the principal themes of his administration. And that was all in a woman with the basic Catholic Church values that we learned in catechism, which was just honesty, integrity, courage, the golden rule, being kind to other people, being kind to people, even those who you don't like. I'm optimistic about the potential for our country to still live up to its ideals. It used to be that the Democratic Party opposed censorship. It was the Democratic Party that wanted to rein in the military. It was the Democratic Party that fought corporate influence government, which is why Wall Street and the big corporations supported Republicans. Well, now that's all changed.
I'm getting a Make America Great Again feel from this in a different way than Trump. But Trump doesn't own Make America Great Again. So that's the threat you see, because he picked that VP. I haven't done a video on that. And you wouldn't think conservatives would be warmed up. But you know what? I'm seeing the Dilly meme team still at times going after him. That you got to watch. If you don't know what the Dilly meme team, they know about this stuff to me better than any suit you see on TV. If they're going after Bobby Kennedy Jr., then they think Bobby Kennedy Jr. is a threat to Donald Trump. And they have stats to prove it. And they don't just go with stats. Like if somebody feeds the Dilly meme team stats, I don't know if that's happening. But if they are independent, they can look at that and say, we don't agree. I look at them as the barometer more than anything, even maybe more than Steve Bannon, of what's happening with MAGA. They're still going after Bobby Kennedy. Why? Because he's a threat. These people who label themselves as conservatives, which all that means is a form of Zionism to me, they're open to Bobby Kennedy, even with the VP choice he made. So I thought that it was still going to take more than votes from Biden. That's the problem. You have Trump, you have Biden, and then now you have RFK. Huge name. Who is he going to take more votes from where? I guess it depends on where. Maybe I should do a full breakdown and investigation on that. But it feels like Make America Great Again. And even in some ways, more than Trump is giving you the feeling of Make America, because it's not just Trump's fault, because they're going after him, so he has to be in the moment. And Bobby is kind of reliving, like that Super Bowl ad was like all the 60s and stuff like that. This is like Make America Great Again from the Democrat side.
Right now, big oil funds the Republicans, big tech funds the Democrats, big pharma and the military contractors make sure to donate to both. Who is liberal now and who's conservative? Who's left and who's right? These labels make less and less sense. I've been fighting corporate corruption for 40 years. I know how they work. I know how to clean them up. And that's why I'm running for president. And it's why I'm running as an independent. I think the country can be recovered and restored and can become a moral authority again in the world, which is what I want. And I'm going to work as hard as I can to make that happen.
I don't want us to be any type of moral authority. I'm not for that. That's a code for neocon warmongering. But you tell me, what do you think about this ad? That's the first about 8 minutes of it or so, few minutes of it. And if there's value, I won't continue doing it if there's no value. So I'll just I'll honestly look at the views and the comments. What you can do to help the channel is go to middlemaga.com, put your email up there in the top right. Why would I want your email? Is because YouTube is not a long-term plan for me. And I'll be here as long as I can. I'm not trying to get kicked off of here, but it won't be here forever. And that's the only way I'll be able to get in touch with you. Let me know what you think about RFKJ's ad, the beginning at least. Maybe you've watched the whole thing. It's 30 minutes. If there is an activity on it, then I'll do more segments on it.
Middle MAGA.